welcome to Rooted Diaspora, and I am so excited that you're here today. Today is a different video, right? Today I'm not out and about just exploring Ghana in different places. You guys just saw a video that threw me, like got me going off because, and I don't want to mention the name of the YouTuber who did this, but this is my own opinion. When you type in on like the YouTube search bar and say maybe you're interested in going to France or Paris, or you just are interested about anywhere in Europe, and you type in, maybe you want to find out like various cultural spots where there's a lot of diversity in different places of Europe. Chateau Rouge come up, and Chateau Rouge come up, though I have never been there before. So my opinion right now is not 100% based off of facts. It's more based off of what I am seeing people say out there, and people that are not melanated, what they're saying out there. What I mean by not melanated, I mean like people that don't look like us are saying out there. And to be honest, I felt taken aback. Now, I can't be 100% with what I'm saying because I have never been there. So it could be that it's really as it is being portrayed to be, that it's, you know, there's a lot of crime in Chateau Rouge, or that there is a lot of, what do you call it? Just a lot of bad things happening in those areas. But when I am seeing the videos of what these people are portraying that place to be, I'm seeing vibrant culture. I'm seeing people from different cultures selling their foods, selling their goods. And I'm thinking in my head, what is being said basically that is a problem to these people who are videoing these areas is that they feel like the culture of France is being diluted by the immigrants. But let me tell you something. That is just the spot of France. That is just the spot of Paris. If you go back, and I'm going to do this, to colonialism, like that is nothing even close. Colonialism ruined Africa. And it's still trying to pick up the pieces from what was done back then. Now you have Africans trying to find greener pastures from a country that was ruined of a higher percentage due to colonialism. They're just trying to find greener pastures in your country where your ancestors came to their country to mess it up, and you're talking about what now? This is the height of hypocrisy. This is the height of hypocrisy. Why are we like that as human beings? Why? If you really think about it, Black people are the least threat to anybody. When you look at even the number of diverse people in many places, I would say that we're the least to even think about. When you think about, excuse the sound because my laundry is going off. When you think of like even real crimes like drug dealing and this and that and the other, especially Africans, the culture that we come from, we don't really deal with that. You see what I mean? There are definitely plenty, but not as of a high number as many or as highly welcome, even in consumption as other cultures. So when I sit back and I watch these, I'm like, yes, I understand, because every country should keep its uniqueness. It's like saying, and let me not even make this comparison because, it's happening. It happens all the time. But we Africans don't make a big deal about it. We don't go on media and start saying, oh, look at this Chinese town. And, they're taking over Ghana. They're taking over here. They're taking over. Look at this India. Yo, what is going on? Most of these people who are in France, I bet you if they go to like outside of Paris, they will not even be welcome. They will be discriminated against. So what's the problem with them finding an area to sell their goods? Where should they sell their goods? Where should they find their type of foods? And then the height of hypocrisy is disgusting. It's disgusting. Look at your history, y'all. Look at your history. What colonialism has done to many countries in Africa. Let's begin with Urania in South Africa. These people over there, non-black people over there, are indirectly or maybe even directly letting Africans know that that area, that you can't infiltrate if you are an African within that circumference, meaning no blacks allowed. Look it up. This is in Africa though. Chateau Rouge, nobody's saying that. It's like a made-up idea that, oh, because there's a lot of Africans, a lot of immigrants, this place is messing up France. Do you know how big France is? How big Paris is? You know, this is why it's important. And this is why I created this channel, because I'm not talking from just someone who lives in the US and just making comments. I lived and I was born in Europe. I was born and raised in Italy. I now live in the United States. God bless America for everything great over here. But everything is great also in Europe. But I do also think that with the history that has happened throughout the years, there should be some sense of empathy and some sense of thinking before coming out here on social media and saying things like this. You know, if you guys just type in Chateau Rouge I mean, maybe I'm ignorant. If any of you guys know about this area, you know it's a complete mess. And even you're a Ghanaian and you're like, no, that place is so bad. Let me know, because maybe I'm just ignorant, because I don't live there. Like I said, I've never been there. But from the outside looking in, and with the fact that I've lived in Europe and I've lived in Italy, I know what it feels like to experience discrimination and so on and so forth. You know, if you know of that place, you know, just let me know. Let me know in the comment section, because I could just be saying stuff. But I just think that, like I said, from the outside looking in, with the experience I've had in Italy, it's a bit much what some of these YouTubers are coming out here to portray, you know, especially looking at the history. Now, there's nothing wrong with saying, you know, this is a part of France and this is how it looks like. And this is where most of the diversity in France is located. This is where they sell their food. And then just sharing their thoughts and say, hey, you know, I do think that, you know, this place, you know, there should be more cohesiveness, or there should be something to get people to integrate together, and not to, like, you know, but really make it that, not kind of saying that to kind of cover up really that you just don't like the fact that there's immigrants in your country. At least they're immigrants. They're not colonialists. You get it? It's like when Europeans come to Africa, it's expats. You know, they're business people, or they're just tourists, or they're just here to go to school. They're just here to work. Nice names like that. But when Africans go to Europe, it's a huge problem. It's a red flag. Come on, like, we are human beings. You know, we need to be humans. Where's the empathy? Where is it? Colonialism didn't happen in Africa because Africa, all they have to offer is palm trees and bamboos. There's a lot in Africa that a lot of the world benefits from, and that's why all of that ridiculous stuff occurred in the past. And it's still happening now, just not under the name of colonialism. And you sit here and you make videos talking about a spot in France that is diverse. Thank God that there is a spot like that, so that y'all or whoever is in France can learn about other cultures, so that you're not so stuck in your ways. Because the world is not just made of one race. It's made of different races, different colors. So for you to expand this brain in your head, you need to be exposed to these things. You need to be exposed to these things. You need to be exposed to different people, because whether you like it or not, the world is made of different cultures. We are all made like flowers. Different kinds of flowers, different colors of flowers. Until you realize that, you're always going to have a problem, and you're going to waste your time making videos like that, thinking that that's going to eradicate something. Now, it made me mad because, you know, we are in 2025 and you still haven't opened your book, or you refuse to open a book or to even read it or to understand it. If you only knew, or if you only allowed yourself to understand what the effects of colonialism in Africa, the effects, you will not talk like that. You will not make videos like that. And it is about time that Africans wake up and realize that, hey, we need to do something. We need to do something. There has been a big surge of the whole year of return, beyond the return, and all of that in Africa, where a lot of African Americans have been invited to come and visit Ghana, to tour Ghana, and if they like, to stay in Ghana. But there's also have been a recent surge of the same African Americans who have tried the move to Ghana and left. You know, you're not the only one. Moving to Africa is not an easy thing to do. Even Africans, especially Ghanaians who are abroad, living abroad, don't just wake up and move to Ghana because they know the difficulties, the struggles, the challenges. But these difficulties and struggles and challenges did not occur in Ghana or in a lot of African countries just because of, you know, that's how it is. But there's a big history that has created a big dent and brain drain in the continent of Africa that has allowed for all of the basic needs to not be there. You struggle for electricity. To get regular electricity, you have to pay an arm and a leg more than what you would pay in the US. Just to get regular electricity, that's still going to be cut off at some point, and then you have to pay again. You know, just to get regular running water, you have to pay extra. So like what's normal in the US, it's a kind of a commodity in Ghana. Not that it's not there, it's there, but you just really have to pay a lot for it. So if you don't change your mindset of, I'm going there to make my country of our origin be part of be part of the movement of improving and developing the country, but you go there with the idea that you're there to just take, you're not going to do well there. Now look back into where what was the push for Europeans to come to Africa. And that is where I commend them very much, because I've noticed that they have a sense of zeal, tenacity, that doesn't let them back down. They have this thing inside of them that, no, I'm going to do anything to fight for mine. We need to learn from that. And that is why I always say, we are human beings. We need to work together. We need to learn. Whatever is good from someone, we learn it and adapt it and learn it. Why other cultures come to Africa and they find what they want and stay, make it happen, and then go and invest back to where they come from? Why? But the same people, we are originally from there. We are not able to figure out what to do to make things happen. Now, I was born and raised abroad, so my life was already like that. I was born and raised here, so me being able to go back home, like, I really have to plan, because I have no clue. So let alone someone who's African American, right? It's not so easy. But what I am saying is that if you do make the plan to go to Ghana or any African country, you sit down and you make your assessment. You make your plan. You don't just pack up and go because you're going to be right back. It's not that easy. Africa has a long way to go. It's not what they make it seem on the television, where people are sleeping on trees and everybody's in a hut. Definitely not. There are streets, there are roads, there are cars, there are supermarkets, hospitals, lots of nightlife, fun things to do. But when it comes to a comfortable life where, you get regular things, even sometimes you will have the money to get something, but that thing is not available there, just because it's a different world. You can't compare it to Europe and or America. And it was highly disadvantaged due to the history of colonialism. So you need to be realistic with what you're going and getting yourself into. You need to first understand that where you're going is not going to be like where you came from. You then need to sit down and develop a plan of, what am I going to do in case of emergencies? You need to think in your head that the way that you used to live in America, you can live exactly the same way here. Just set a couple of things down of what you can live with and what you cannot live with. So if you're okay with not having AC, for instance, that will run up your bill super high, and you just open up your windows and put on a fan, make that, as your thing that you could do. If, you're okay with cold water, then fine, because it's usually hot in Ghana anyway. You can bath in cold water, So it's kind of like sacrificing something to be able to establish something, or to be able to partake in the development of your country, because other people from other areas do it, and everyone is coming to take from Africa all the natural resources, that are here, all the things that are everything, all the natural things, for the most part, they're from here. Why colonialism happened? So I think we need to learn that kind of tenacity, that kind of strength, and not give up so quickly if we make up our mind that it's time for us to move. You can't just pick up your bags and say, oh, I'm going to go to Africa because you see a couple of YouTubers having fun all the time, showing you how easy it is for them. No, you have to make your homework. You have to do your homework. You have to go there a couple of times. I would say at a minimum 3 times. And of those 3 times that you're there, you have to be staying there for at least 1 to 3 months. And that's at the least. And understand the dynamics, how things flow. How would you get to the hospital if there's an emergency? Do they have a 911 system? If they don't have one, what is the system? Where would be a good place for you to stay? And if something if plan A doesn't work, do you have a plan B and C? Because in Ghana, you need a plan D, E, F as well. What is your source of income? Very important, because in Ghana, the culture is not such as I'm going to go there to find a job. Most people own small businesses in Ghana, and these small businesses are not trying to hire nobody. They're all mom and pops type of businesses. So unless you go for like a big corporation, and those jobs are far few and in between. Everybody's fighting for those jobs. So when you go to Ghana and you go there with the mindset, oh, I'm just going to find a job, I'm going to quit my job wherever I am, and then no, it's not going to work. You need to go there with a plan of how am I going to make money for the time frame that I'm going to be here and build whatever I want to build. Now, if you already say, okay, I have $50,000 and I just want to go to Ghana and stay there for 2 years, you can do it with $50,000, but you cannot do it by partying, going out to eat every day. That it's gonna go so quick, because those are not things that Ghanaians do on a day-to-day basis. They're gonna charge you the prices of twice the price that you would spend here almost in the States or in Europe, because a lot of the things that they have to use to create that ambience are imported as well. So you're gonna pay imported price. But that's kind of similar to if you were to live that kind of lifestyle here in the States or in Europe. You would run out of money pretty quickly. So why do that in Ghana, especially if your point is not tourism, it's to stay there, right? Now, if you're just going there for vacation, that's completely different. You spend your money the way you want to because you've planned it that way, right? But if you're going there to live, you're going to have to manage your money in such a way that it won't run out so fast. You need to think about, where would you want to live? Where are the good areas for you to live, where you can access transportation if you need it? Now, if you're going to Ghana and you want to live there and you don't know nobody, and you go live somewhere so far off, and you say, okay, let's make this place is really nice, but say you say, okay, I want somewhere that is like natural. I just don't want to be in the city. I want to live by the mountain. So you say you want to go live in Aburi, for instance. Aburi is a very nice area, and Koforidia is there. It's kind of like the main city for that area. But you are from here. You were born and raised abroad. It might be cool for you for the first 2 weeks, but after a month, you're going to start wondering, like, okay, I called the Uber and it's been an hour. Maybe, you now need to rush because, you need to get to wherever you need to get to. Or maybe the Uber cancels after an hour of you waiting. And that keeps happening because you live up in the mountains somewhere and you don't even have a car. You can't do that. You see what I mean? But because you didn't spend your time to research the country, the state at which it is, and the different places that you should stay, you now start cursing out Ghana and its all entirety just because of that one mistake that really you made. See, this is what I don't understand, but other people are able to come to Ghana and make it happen because they understand this simple mathematics. They don't live in a fantasy world. They know exactly where Africa was put at. They know exactly where it's at. So they're not going to come thinking that because they see the dirty December, that Africa is at the same level, close level to where Europe or America is. Just be realistic and develop tough skin. If you want to make a good impact in the continent, come in realistically like that. Don't come in with, it's not like that. It's really not like that. So yes, it's safe for the most part. It's beautiful. It feels like home. So many things, but there's also the realistic part. So if you want to come and contribute to the continent, you have to do a good job in assessing the continent, understanding, where to go, make a good financial plan, and understand what it is that you want from it. So this video is kind of going like in different directions, but it kind of ties in, right? Because it kind of shows how other people view us when we're in their country. Like, for instance, we live in a very nice area in the United States, but we're the only ones. I want to find out how they view us in their eyes. You see what I mean? But it sucks because, our country was ruined by a lot of these people. So it's like, now you are looking for a place to stay where it's safe and it's livable, and they're considering you a nuisance. Do you understand? Do you understand the magnitude of this? It's really messed up. Now, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. But when you sit down and you think about humanity, you think about empathy, you think about your fellow brother and sister, how could you do this? How could you think like that? There is enough to eat for everybody. Why are we so competitive? Why? What is the point? Where are we getting at? So when I watched that video, it just made me think about the situation with the year of return and how some are returning back to the US, and some are even out here on YouTube talking really bad about Africa just because of their ignorant way of moving to Africa without doing their homework, without really sitting down and thinking about how do I make this happen properly. And I don't know if these are skits or whatever, what some of the people are doing, coming out here and talking so bad about different countries in Africa. But whatever it is, whenever you put a bad connotation behind the name of where you come from, remember that you are also creating a bad image of that country for yourself. You're contributing to the bad image of that country and the bad image of yourself. So be very mindful whenever you do that, because I haven't come across anyone from even the poorest countries that are non-Black yet to discredit their country the way that we do. Be very careful. It's not funny. You have to think about how you're joking. You have to think about how you present yourself in this world, because the way you present yourself, it's the way people are going to look at you. If you present yourself, degrading yourself, degrading your surrounding, degrading the people around you, people are going to see you just as that, degradeful. Speak highly, but yet still be realistic. Yes, there is unpaved roads. There are dirt roads everywhere. There are a lot of problems in Africa, and everybody should know about those things. However, there is a way of going about it. This is not only about those who have moved to Africa from whether the Caribbean, the Americas, or whatever. But even within the Ghanaian culture, we need to change something. I noticed when I went to Ghana back in 2018, and even recently when I went back, that Ghanaians have this way of saying, oh, Ghana say, oh, Ghana, Kroma say, I say. If you don't know what that means that, oh, the country has spoiled, meaning the country is in ruins. The country is no good. Be very careful, because the power of the tongue is very, very, very strong. And that is something that my parents have said to me, and I know for today that it is. You know, when I was a kid, I used to say, I want to live in California. I know I'm going to live in California. Lo and behold, that happened. I did not plan it. It just fell on my lap. It just fell on my lap. So if you keep speaking negative about anything about yourself or whatever you are inside of, you may think you are saying something negative to someone because you want maybe to harm that person. But if you're part of that person's circle, you are including yourself in that negative talk. You know, it can happen. Stop talking negatively about your country. Stop saying Ghana say. Stop saying Ghana has spoiled. Stop saying negative things about the country and start speaking positively, realistically. There's a difference. Start speaking positively, realistically. It's happened way too many. And this is from family members, you know. I have my own family members who talk like that, you know. But never have I ever heard my parents talk like that. Never have I ever. Because they know that the power of the tongue is very, very powerful. You need to stop being negative. Be positive. Be part of what you want to see a change of. And that doesn't have to be you going to get, you having hundreds of thousands of dollars or pounds or euros to go into any business. It could be as simple as talking positively about your country. That's contribution as well. Any little way that you can contribute positively about your country is moving an inch forward. Any drops of water makes a mighty ocean. Is that the saying? Because I forgot. That's something my parents used to say. You know, we need to change our mentality, okay? We need to adopt what is good from elsewhere and get rid of what is bad. If some of our cultural beliefs in the past did not help us now, and we've observed that they have not helped us, throw them in the trash and adopt what is good. That doesn't mean you are not loving yourself. That doesn't mean you are getting rid of your culture. But just the same way as I am trying to tell those French people who are upset of Chateau Rouge to try to learn and adapt to other people so that they can also expand, it is the same way that I'm saying about Africans. Throw away what doesn't work and adopt what works. Because what we are using that is not working for us is what they are using to laugh at us too. This is coming from someone who has lived in many places. I tell you, if I tell you how many places I've lived as a child until now, you will be surprised. Let's change the way that we think. Let's change the way that we talk. Let's move forward in many little ways. It doesn't have to be you bring thousands of, because how many people have brought hundreds of thousands of dollars in Ghana, try to establish business like, oh, me koyewe. And then that money is in the trash. It's like you just threw it in the ocean, like literally threw it in the ocean. Nothing happens because you didn't study the system. You thought you were going there with your money, big man. Those people over there in Ghana, they are smarter than you. You think they're going to just let things happen? Meanwhile, they've been in the country all this while, struggling. You better sit down quietly and figure out how things work back there before it works. So, no. Take your time. Ghanaians, take your time. Thank you so much for watching. You You guys have a great day. Bye.